Alright, who's going first this time?
I'll go first since it's in front of me.
Okay.
Are we ready? How are we? Oh, I meant to ask you. I think we should just take the Scary Sundays audio that we made and use like a snippet of it as our intro music. Unless you like the other one, like our normal one, and you want to leave it. Or do you think we should vamp it up?
We should make a new...
That's what I was thinking.
A new Crumb the Coconut song.
Still kind of like very minutely tropical sounding.
But also cryptic.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We can come up with something on it.
Since it's like season 2, kind of.
Yeah, and it's season 2.
Season 2 of Crime in the Coconut.
This is season 2 of Crime in the Coconut. Welcome.
If you waited and you are here, wow. Thank you.
I don't think I ever thought we were going to have like a season 2.
Neither did I. But here we are.
Oh wait, you said you wanted to be the second week actually. So this will be
the second week of February, yeah.
So maybe I should go first.
Yep.
If this is going to be like the first episode.
That's right.
Because that's what it sounded like.
Yep.
Okay.
So anyway.
Beep, beep, beep. Where Love how that's like your...
That's my go-to sound.
Your reverse sound.
Because I don't know, that's the only thing that seems easy.
Reverse.
Could you imagine if that's how that song sounded?
My topic today is on the Chicago Tylenol Murders.
I love this story.
It's actually not really Chicago, but it's like the surrounding areas or whatever. I also wanted to say that January 15th was Wikipedia's 20th birthday.
And we love Wikipedia around here.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yes. Ashley, I'm sure Ashley does too, but
not as much as Amanda does.
I love Wikipedia. So go donate to them because they provide most of the content that comes from me.
Yes. And especially if you didn't get along with your English teachers in high school who told you that Wikipedia was not a source.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Absolutely. Anyway, did you miss us?
Oh, God.
Let's get it poppin'.
In the late summer of 1982, a total of 7 people died from consuming tampered with Tylenol brand acetaminophen capsules. We're going to jump in first with a short but very quickly in sync list of victims.
Okay. I'm ready.
I struggled to say the word sequence.
I thought you were saying in sync, and I was like, I didn't know they were a part of this story.
No. In sync. What do you... I mean, you seem like you know all about
I don't know, like, the details of it. I just know that... Because there was more than one story similar to this, I think. There's the Tylenol Murders, which I feel like everybody has at least heard of before, because now it's the reason that you have the seal on over-the-counter stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'd be surprised, because that's like a fun fact I go to, and quite a few people don't know.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this one, but I know there is a story where someone was trying to kill their husband, and then she accidentally killed other people because somebody else bought tampered with medicine.
I think I actually covered that in here.
Okay.
I didn't dive super deep into that particular case because she was convicted.
That's the one I normally hear, is that one.
Yeah.
I don't hear, like, the whole Tylenol story.
But I do go off on a little side tangent of one of the suspects, which is, like, definitely sidetracking, but her story is, like, so crazy I could have done a whole another article about it.
Ooh.
So...
Yes.
Yeah, alright.
I'm ready. I've missed this.
Me too. And then I got, like, mood lighting now.
I know.
Like, LED lights.
Yeah, I wish you guys were in here with us. What's with the 3 that are different, though?
I don't know. I think they're broken.
Oh, okay.
And then I have, like, a whole missing corner.
It's okay. It's excellent on this side.
On September 29th, 12-year-old Mary Kellerman of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, Adam Janis, Stanley Janis, and Teresa Janis, all younger adults from Lisley, Illinois, were 4 of the first victims. If I botch these city names, like...
I would have said Lyle, but that also
maybe,
doesn't seem right.
Maybe Lyle. L-I-S-L-E. But Illinois is also spelled the way it's spelled, so we're already off to a bad start.
It's okay. You guys love us still.
So those 4 people died within the same day.
Yikes.
And within the 3 following days, Mary McFarland from Elmhurst, Illinois, Paula Prince from Chicago, Illinois, and Mary Reiner from Winfield, Illinois, all died shortly after taking capsules of Tylenol and becoming victims of cyanide poisoning.
Tylenol is getting hit.
And the whole time I was writing this, I kept thinking of the Jamestown audio.
Yeah. We don't talk about that.
Cyanide is not a fun thing.
It's not.
So, something I noticed was that all of these victims were women except for 2 men who were Teresa's husband and brother-in-law.
Oh.
So I was like, maybe the intentional victims could have been all women.
But they just accidentally got caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah, but I think that's just a shot in the dark. I just, want to make a point. The oldest, Adam Janice, was taken to the hospital after taking a Tylenol and becoming violently ill. Mm-hmm. Stanley and Teresa were the ones to take him to the hospital and were aware of his death. So they went home, probably distraught. And
took
when they
Tylenol for their headaches.
They returned home from the hospital, they took a Tylenol, one per person, pop, pop, bam, dead.
Oh no!
Yes.
So you got a headache from your crying because you're dehydrated and you're sad. And you got to take Tylenol. Now you're dead.
So I'm not calling these people stupid or anything. They probably, didn't even see him take a Tylenol. I just thought it was very...
That sucks.
Wacky.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think all of the pills within the bottle were...
How unlucky is it that you got the one with the cyanide in it?
Yeah. It's also strange that the fact that all these people died within the same household was a key element in detectives linking it back to the Tylenol. So if a singular group of people hadn't died so early on in the Tylenol being tampered with, more people would have died. 7 victims is a low number if you consider the circumstances. Yeah.
Yikes.
So it was a sacrifice, but it probably is for the better.
Yeah, because we may not be able to... They may never have figured it out. Mm-hmm. And we could still be having problems with over-the-counter medication today. Or
it would have gone on way longer. I'm sure eventually they would have figured it out.
Right.
On the night of October 1st, Johnson & Johnson recalled 31 million bottles of Tylenol and offered to replace any purchased capsules with compressed pills.
How big is your company that you can take that loss and then still reimburse for things?
Right. This was breaking news, and authorities would parade down Chicago, announcing over loudspeakers in the streets that for people not to stop taking Tylenol.
Very apocalyptic.
Yeah, so many news articles written about it, and people were flooding hospitals thinking that they were poisoned, so you can imagine, the chaos and stuff. Since the victims were all local, it was believed to have been done by someone in the area who purchased the pills prior to poisoning them and replaced them back on the shelves. Tamper-proof seals were not invented before this incident, as Ashley mentioned before. Mm-hmm.
I can't believe people don't realize... I guess you take for granted, how into this sort of thing you are and how much little nuanced stuff that you know that other people might not have ever realized.
Yeah.
Like the seals not existing.
Side note, do you remember that weird, social media thing where people were, licking ice creams and stuff?
Yes.
I saw some videos of people doing that with, mouthwash. And my first thought was, well, if you're purchasing anything without a tamper-proof seal, then that's kind of your own fault.
Yeah.
When I lived with somebody, and, the orange juice was new, I had just bought it, but when I opened it, there was no seal on it, I would have to ask them, hey, did you drink the orange juice?
Yeah.
Because, I would dump it down the drain.
Right.
If they had it.
Right.
Or whatever. Because I'm not...
The ice cream was a little bit different because there isn't, a...
Yeah.
You might not be able... Especially if it's put back in the freezer for a long time, it'll just, freeze back into place. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, if you buy milk or...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You gotta watch
There have been a few times, especially, the bottles when the plastic, cracks. There's no plastic seal.
Yeah.
And I don't really, feel the crack all the way or something.
You're no, not that one. How many times have we narrowly avoided death because we're paranoid?
I would like for all of my unanswered questions to be answered when I die.
Yeah. I want to know how many times I almost died.
Yeah.
I want to know, how close was I? Because then I'll give myself a pat on the back for not dying.
Yeah, damn, girl. It's like watching Mr. Magoo or something.
Yeah. It's exactly like that. Fun fact. Only because I know Karen is listening. She used to call Quinn Mr. Magoo. That was his nickname when he was a kid.
Why? Because he just like
Because
bumble
I think it's
around.
because he had a big head.
Oh.
Like when he was really, really little, he had a big head. I think that's what she told me. Correct me if I'm wrong, Karen.
My brother was called Casper because he had a big head.
My best friend called me Casper growing up
I
because
know.
I was just white. Anyway.
Back on to subject.
Back on to people dying.
After 10 million pills were recalled and tested for cyanide. Or no, sorry, shit. Cut that out. Over 10 million pills were...
31 million bottles of Tylenol.
Oh, yeah, but I was like, I'm right here, right?
Oh. Yeah, you are.
Okay, yeah. The numbers.
The numbers. We don't do numbers.
We haven't done this in like 4 months. Over 10 million pills were recalled and tested for cyanide, and a conclusive 50 capsule... I'm gonna shoot myself. I'm so mad.
This blooper reel is about to be lit. That's gonna go in the beginning, right before the music. That little bit right there.
Good. I'm so mad. Okay. I don't even know. Okay, let's redo for like the 5th time.
Capsules.
Over 10 million pills were recalled and tested for cyanide, and a conclusive 50 capsules were laced with cyanide.
She did it.
Woo! Okay. 5 of these bottles were owned by the victims. 2 of the bottles were sent back in the recall, and the last was found sitting on the shelf still for sale. So that's 50 capsules over 8 bottles.
Yikes.
So there's no way all of the pills in the bottle could have been cyanide poison because there's like 50 capsules in a bottle.
Right.
At least.
Maybe it was like one of those hundreds.
So that also is kind of crazy that those 2 people also took cyanide leaks.
Such slim chances that like that entire household died.
Mm-hmm. Also, the contents of the cyanide per pill was like ridiculously high.
Yeah.
Like this person could have made way more pills with the amount of cyanide they had.
They wanted to make sure you did.
Either that or they just got like bored.
Yeah.
Or they didn't know what they were doing, could have been too.
Yeah. I feel like when you hear about cyanide poisoning, the person that received the cyanide or the object that had the cyanide in it always has way more than what is necessary. So maybe it's just like people don't actually understand how much.
It could be like a fentanyl type situation.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into suspects now.
Ready.
A guy named James Lewis admitted to the murders in a letter he sent to Johnson & Johnson demanding $1 million, claiming that he would stop the murders if his demand was met. No evidence was conclusive that he was the culprit, and he was later convicted of extortion and served 13 years. He now denies any connections to the murders. What a dummy.
Why do people falsely kill?
What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, best case scenario, you end up in jail for lying.
Which is basically what happened.
Mm-hmm.
There's a second suspect, Roger Arnold, who cracked under media pressure and was charged with second-degree murder after killing someone who he thought was somebody else, totally unrelated to the murders. Next. I did not want to go into this one at all.
No.
It's pointless, stupid, dumb.
Just sounds like he happened to be killing at the same time, and they were like, maybe it's him.
No, it actually wasn't. He cracked under media pressure because someone he knew was, like, either framing him or was, like, pressuring him.
Yeah.
And he went to kill that person, but accidentally killed somebody else, mistaking them for them.
Whoops.
But this next one is more of what you're thinking.
Okay.
And this is the one I wanted to, like, do a whole side story on. This story was wild. I definitely was, like, on a tangent.
I'm buckling up.
This.
I'm ready.
I went to a whole different Wikipedia article.
Oh, she changed wiki pages.
Yes. I shortened it a lot, though.
Okay.
Because it isn't super imperative to the Tylenol murders, but it is very interesting for sure. So Lori Dan was this insane woman. Absolutely, like...
bonkers.
Yes, nuts. She would leave food to rot in couch cushions and would, like, ride up and down on elevators for hours. And she was a babysitter. That was her job, her occupation.
I was gonna say, she's not hurting anybody, but she is, so...
There were multiple instances where people could have, like, pressed charges on her, but they didn't. I don't know if she was, like, charming, or if they were, like...
Maybe they felt bad for her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not in my house.
No.
Not in my house, that's for sure.
I have a
no
person...
excuses.
Even just these first 2 sentences make me think of a very particular, specific human being. My younger one. And, yeah, no, not in my house.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
So, in May of 1988, this was 6 years after the Tylenol murders.
Okay.
Lori prepared snack packages like rice cakes and juice boxes laced with arsenic and pulled a deranged Meals on Wheels type situation. So she delivered these snacks to acquaintances and families of those she babysat in multiple fraternity houses how do you say that?
Leverone?
Leverone, I don't know. Leveroni, like the pasta. I don't think it's a pasta. It basically, like, delivered these to fraternities in a hall at Northwestern University.
Like the pasta. I'm sorry. Wow, she's cracked out. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, like, why she took it to the university. I don't think she went to school. Whatever.
Maybe she knew someone there?
I think she also had, like, this weird thing with men.
Okay.
There was something on the Wikipedia of her, like, falsely accusing this guy of rape and stuff. I think she just
didn't like men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thankfully, she didn't really know what she was doing, so a lot of these snack packages were in really poor condition. So few people ate them, and those who did not become seriously ill because the arsenic was so diluted.
So she didn't get the ratios right on the arsenic.
Yeah. The same morning, she picked up 2 children she was to babysit, drove them to an elementary school. Also, this gets dark, just mentally preparing you.
Already.
Drove them to an elementary school where she firmly believed her ex-sister-in-law's sons were enrolled at. They were never students at the school. She was just, like, totally insane. And she attempted to detonate a firebomb in the school hallway. And so while, like, teachers were distracted with putting the fire out, she got away before anyone caught onto her. And then she drove to a daycare where her ex-sister-in-law's daughter went and tried to enter with a can of gasoline, but was stopped by staff.
Good on you, staff.
Somehow, she was let go again.
I'm sorry.
And returned home with the children she picked up and tried to poison them with arsenic, but failed. This was their home, not her home, so the mom was there. Tried to poison these kids with arsenic, but failed because they said the milk tasted weird and spit it out.
Good. Milk tastes weird, you spit that shit out.
Yes. I think I said spitted.
I almost said spitted too. I had to stop real hard.
You spitted that out. Oh god, okay. Let's see, where am I?
We're highly educated.
Yes.
Very intelligent women.
She then trapped the mother and 2 children in the basement and set the house on fire. All 3 of the people managed to escape.
Thank God.
She then went to a different elementary school with multiple handguns.
Is this all the same day?
Yes. Yes. She is, like, bouncing from location
She's losing it.
Location, yes.
Why have they not shot her yet?
Nobody's, like, called the cops on her yet.
What?
It's also 1988, so maybe,
That's true.
like, it's just going a little slower than it would today.
I would have
People don't like how cell
decked
phones
her
and
ass.
shit.
It would have been me and that daycare. Me and her in that daycare going rounds.
So, she then went to a different elementary school with multiple handguns.
Where did she get the handgun?
I don't know, but she ended up killing 2 children
Oh.
and wounded a couple others. Sad face.
Major sad face.
Then she went to go leave, but her car was blocked by one of those, like, funeral
Processions?
Yes.
Oh, good.
So instead she ran into the woods, stumbled upon a house where she told the 2 living there it was a mom and a son. The son's like 20-some years old. So.
Yeah.
And she told them that she was raped and killed a rapist, and that's why she had blood on her. And they sympathized and tried helping her before realizing she was nuts and contacted authorities. They then, like, ran out of the house because she wouldn't leave. And
Yeah.
they were like, fuck
Peace
that.
out.
Yeah.
We don't need the house that bad.
So Lori is now alone in the home, surrounded by police, and shot and killed herself in the upstairs bathroom, or bedroom.
Oh.
So
Those poor kids.
it was like a wild day. I think besides those 2 kids that died, out of the ones that were injured, all but one were okay. Like,
Okay.
they're, like...
Nothing long-lasting.
Yes, but it is very sad that kids had to die.
And those kids still are alive today, I'm sure. You know, the ones that survived it, because this was only in the 80s.
Yeah,
And I cannot imagine, like, they're not that much older than us.
Yeah.
Like, they're in their 30s right now.
The Wikipedia said something about how they had, like behavioral health.
I'm sure a lot of them probably
Specialists
turned to things like drugs and stuff as they got older.
Oh, I wonder.
Because that's pretty traumatic.
Yeah. I mean, I know I rely a little bit on substance abuse, that's for sure. And I'm a lot better with it than I was.
There's people that don't go through even like a third of that and still turn to it.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't imagine.
Everyone handles trauma differently.
Yeah.
And it's all about developing healthy coping mechanisms.
Hopefully they're okay.
The point of that tangent was that all this happened 6 years after the Tylenol murders, and Lori was a suspect due to location and poisoning in both cases. That's what, like, they had in common. But no direct connection was found, so they thought maybe she got her hands on cyanide and then later went to arsenic or something.
I feel like the only reason I would say it would not be her is because even though it was quite random, the Tylenol stuff, it seemed way too structured for something she would do.
I agree. It's way too put together.
Yeah.
The Unabomber was also suspected.
I was thinking that in my head.
The first 4 bombs occurred in Chicago from 1978 to 1980, and his parents had a home where he would stay occasionally in 1982, like close to those locations. Yeah. But Kaczynski died. But Kaczynski denied ever having possessed cyanide.
Okay.
And they he
provided
DNA and everything.
He probably would have owned up to it too if that was him.
Yeah, that was his whole thing.
Right. He wasn't ashamed of it. He had a whole... Man, I read some of his manifesto. He raised some pretty good points. Didn't go about it the right way, but...
Yeah. I might have to go into that too.
You should do the Unabomber. That would be fun.
I actually don't know anything about the Unabomber.
I just listened to I listened to Bailey Sarian's episode on it, and I was like, that's not at all what I thought that story was about. Mm-hmm. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, I looked on the Wikipedia for him too, and they had like a whole list of all the bombs that he made and if they were detonated or not and if there were casualties or not.
Yeah.
And that list was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Every other second she was like, yep, and then this bomb went off. And I was like,
yeah. And
people's front doors. People's front doors. Yeah.
Yeah, years.
Yep. That's coming next.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Mm-hmm. Immediately following the OG Tylenol murders, hundreds of copycat attacks occurred involving cyanide-laced pain relievers. A convicted copycat, Stella Nickel, who murdered 2 individuals, including her husband, was sentenced to 90 years.
That's the story I've heard of before. I've never actually heard of any of the 7 that you started the story out with.
Surprisingly, there wasn't, the Wikipedia did not go into Stella Nickel at all, and there was no Wikipedia, article for it.
That's interesting. That's the only one I've ever heard is the Stella Nickel story.
I'm sure if I looked it up on Google, I could have, but I figured I went in such a tangent about Lori Dan,
that could be its own episode, honestly, because it is kind of a crazy story.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It reminds me of, that lady from Australia I did.
Oh, Catherine Knight?
Yeah, Catherine Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're so good at remembering names.
I'm just kidding.
Thus resulting in pharmaceutical, food, and consumer product industries to come up with tamper-resistant packaging. Product tampering was also made a federal crime because of this.
It's so fascinating to me when that's a thing. Now, this is a federal crime because of this, and it wasn't before. Same with, hijacking an airplane wasn't a federal crime until I forget who did it. It was way back in the day. Somebody hijacked an airplane for the first time, and then it was a federal crime after that.
Well, yeah, you think... I mean, I guess laws are created for a reason.
Yeah.
But I would think that laws would be created... people would have the common sense to be maybe we should make it illegal for someone to, murder somebody before it happens.
I found out cannibalism is legal in Germany.
Really?
What?
Is that when, people just sign up, they're like, yeah, I want to die, and you can eat my body afterwards?
Well, that's what I thought, but the way, I can't remember, I think it was a Bailey Sarian episode. Sorry, I've been binging her recently, so she's going to be a reference for a while. But I think she said she was covering a story about somebody overseas, and he got... It was one of those cannibal cafe type deals where you can volunteer to be eaten. So he could not be convicted for the cannibalism because it was legal in Germany, but he was still convicted for the murder. I believe that's how that
Yeah,
ended
how
up.
the hell does that work? How can
Cannibalism is legal.
Be legal, but
bestiality is legal in certain parts of the world, so
you have to kill somebody to eat them.
not necessarily. If you can take parts of them off.
Oh.
And because that's a thing.
You know, honestly, I don't know if I should say this.
We can cut it out.
I was gonna say, I was gonna be like, you know, if someone's willing to pay me, like,
you want a couple layers of my what's that called, epidermis?
Yeah,
just, you can have some.
That's just skin. But someone was like, yeah, if you cut off like half of your arm, I'm gonna give you like
$1 million,
$500,000 or $1 million. I'd be like, you know,
I don't need it that bad.
I could probably get a pretty good prosthetic.
Take the left. I use my right.
I don't know. I use my hands pretty frequently. Maybe a leg, a foot, mid calf at the most.
You want a kidney? Heard they're tasty.
My kidneys are hardly functioning now.
Okay. What else can you get rid of? You want my spleen? I don't need it. You can have my appendix.
Yeah, but you can't. Those are like organs. You can't like eat organs.
Yeah, you can. Liver.
Oh, liver's different. Liver's like meaty.
But people like you can eat the heart and stuff.
Your gallbladders or your appendix are like sacks.
Yeah, that's true. It'd just be like you could use it for flavoring.
Your
I'm sure
appendix
probably.
A poop sack.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Such interesting conversation.
If you're into that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but
so wild.
So they never figured out who did the originals?
No.
In Chicago?
Nope. There was never anybody caught or convicted.
I wonder if it was a group of people.
They did catch video of one guy walking behind somebody who had bought a cyanide poison bottle.
Yeah.
And they thought that was him. Like waiting in the store for someone to buy
like,
the one he put on the shelf. I think I missed a...
Oh, hold on. Did we skip someone?
Yes. In the early 1983, so a year after, or the next year, the police, with the permission of the family, published the child victim Mary Kellerman's address in a column in the Chicago Tribune in hopes that the killer may visit the location of his first victim. This house, as well as Kelly's grave, were kept under 24-hour surveillance for a long time, and nothing turned up.
Wow, that's actually really smart.
Mm-hmm.
That indicates to me that it wasn't that was somebody trying to just either incite havoc for no reason, no rhyme or reason, and they got off with just the way that the city handled it by, having those announcements out and Tylenol being pulled off the shelves, or it was somebody trying to kill someone specific.
There was also suspicion of somebody attempting to do that as, like, what's that called? Like, stock, when you, like, try to manipulate stocks.
Oh.
So if they were, like, trying to bring down Johnson & Johnson or something, that could have been...
Never would have thought about that.
It could have been more of, like, a... I'm forgetting like what it's called. But like attack on like the business itself rather than trying like they maybe they weren't trying to kill people.
Yeah.
I mean obviously like they were like if people die then
they die there, it's a casualty. I could see why they would have tried to pin that on the Unabomber then.
Mhm. So
wow. And
and
that is why you don't buy tampered with products. PSA. In case you didn't know that already.
I feel like I could just go on to like a whole long tangent about this. I also wonder how many times people have like murder happens all the time. And like a lot of the time people aren't caught for it.
Right.
And I wonder how many times something like this has happened or a murder has happened and the murderer or the person responsible ends up killing themselves and then nobody refines them.
Right. Or even not kill themselves because something like this, they never make a connection as to what really happened to them.
I'm thinking more of like a guilt. Like maybe if they were not mentally stable and wanted to incite havoc and then did it and was like, oh my god, like the first person that died was a child. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Didn't mean to do that.
And then...
That's why I was wondering if it was a group. Like maybe they were the scapegoat for the group. They were the ones that it's one person had to go and do the cyanide poisoning of the Tylenol. They didn't expect the outcome that happened. And they then offed themselves because they could not handle the weight of what they really did.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I wonder.
Yeah.
When, perpetrators are never found. What's perpetrator?
Yeah, perpetrator.
Correct use of the word?
Yeah. Ugh. I don't like when they're unsolved. I almost did an unsolved one, and I was like, I need to have some finite end.
I think mine are, like, sprinkled around.
Yeah.
I think I've got, like, a good 50-50 split between solved and unsolved.
And unsolved is good. Just so frustrating. Something like this, too, where, like, we will probably literally never know. I mean, maybe a deathbed confession someday if the person's still here.
Yeah.
Because that's really popular, and I could see somebody being like, okay, well, they can't get me now. I'm about to die. So, just so you know, it was me who did the Tylenol murders. Bye.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another question that'll be answered when I die. I don't know. I just imagine there's, like, a long-ass list, and he just tells me they, the omniscient
whoever.
presence or whatever.
The person running this...
a giant book I have to read
sim.
myself. It'll be like, remember that one time when you were 4 and you wondered if Santa was real? No, he's not. Next page.
When I was a kid, because I was raised in, like, a religious family when I was a kid, how my, like, little kid brain processed the afterlife is when you died, you went into, like, a room with a big TV, and you got to see everything in your life from start to finish, but then you got to see everything of life. Like, you watched a little movie about everything. Like, you saw the truth of it all, and then you just went on. That was how I processed, like, becoming all-knowing, because that's, like, a big thing in religion, is that you learn all the truths.
Yeah.
And then you move on.
I think I would like to see how my life impacted others, positively or negatively.
I'd like to have some of those repressed memories come back.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to remember things that, like, I think are dreams, but maybe they weren't dreams.
Ooh, yeah.
I would want to know, like, what's real and what's not real.
I've had a couple of those.
Yeah. I have tons of memories where I'm like, is that real? Did that really happen? Or was that, like, one of those really weird fever dreams I had when I was 5?
Sometimes when you're younger, you lie to yourself, and then it eventually becomes a memory. Mm-hmm. Which I'm sure has happened multiple times.
Yeah.
Alright. Well,
I don't know how we got there from the Tylenol murders, but...
Thanks for joining us in this first episode of Season 2. Crime in the Coconut. Yes.
No announcements right now other than we're back. We're booming. And go follow us on our social medias. At Crime in the Coconut on Instagram. Our Twitter. CITC Podcasts. Our Gmail is crimeinthecoconut@gmail.com. We are on YouTube. We don't have any videos up yet. Those are just for Patreons, but our podcast is put on there. The audio is put up every week, so you can also catch the podcast there if you're a big YouTube person.
Yes. Ashley and I looked at each other in panic right before we did that. Like, God, what are our plugs?
What are our plugs? Oh, well, we did it. We're here.
Yes, but join the Patreon. You get fun little stickers.
I forgot about that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you get fun stickers. There's 3 tiers. Scary Kid, Palm Reader, and Island Witch. It's fun. Go look at them. Check them out. Read what they're all about, because I don't know what they're about off the top of my head.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.